So Chantal Jefferson is the one who died? I am so sorry. I want to attend her funeral. We actually went to high school together. We were in only one class together, but I do remember her. The last time we met was at the funeral of her elder son Richard. Unfortunately, because Richard Jefferson was killed in a gang shootout, there were more than a dozen other gang members there, and that frightened me. I lost touch with Chantal shortly after that. Chantal had 2 sons. The other one was Michael, who moved with her to my town shortly after Richard Jefferson was killed. Michael eventually became the genetic father of my son Richard, who was named after Michael's brother. I chose Michael to be the father because I felt Chantal deserved to be a grandmother, and I thought that Michael himself was a great guy. Then Michael and his husband Charles were killed by a homophobe. So Chantal lost both her sons and only had her grandson as her legacy. I can only assume she finally died of a broken heart, literally. Anyway, we have made arrangements for Chantal's body to be returned to Dallas to be buried next to her sons and Charles. Will Annika also be at the funeral? Yes. I will send you details. The funeral will be held at First Unitarian Universalist Church of Dallas next Sunday afternoon. At that time you may pick up Annika and she may spend her summer months with you. We will be there. Annika, are you sure you want to do all this? You don't have to go if you don't feel up to it.
No, it's okay. I want to honor Mrs. Jefferson's memory. And I do want to see my great-aunt and great-uncle too. I just ask that Richard come with me again. Just as Mrs. Jefferson was like my grandmother, so Richard is like my brother. I would miss him so much if we were apart.
I understand.
Meanwhile, right-wing extremists are burning up social media in response to the ad attacking Sandy Smith, made by Lee Lord and funded by Ted Wilson and his wife Rebecca.
How can they allow that killer to go unpunished? First Mrs. Smith's daughter-in-law beats up a cop, then Mrs. Smith herself has committed murder.
Why do you think she took control of her town's police department? She and her family can act outside the law, because in that town they are the law.
What else can you expect from atheists? They clearly have no sense of right and wrong.
Lock her up. Lock her up. Lock that bitch up.
The following Sunday, friends and relatives of Chantal Jefferson gather at the UU Church in Dallas.
The funeral service was lovely, as was the worship service before it. Annika, are you and Richard ready to come with us?
Sure, that's why we brought our luggage.
Debbie, you won't believe what is going on outside. Members of Westboro Baptist Church have shown up and are picketing the funeral. And Ted Wilson and your cousin Rebecca are with them, along with others. What the hell?
Sandy Smith is a killer, and she belongs to a whole family of perverts.
Let's make their lives a living hell. Avenge Diana Callie.
Try to ruin my life, will you, Sandy Smith? You will pay.
You godless backstabbers. I got thrown off a school board because of you. Christians are being persecuted by those damned liberals and atheists.
Go back to your perverted town and stay there, you libtards.
Things were just fine until you turned things upside down. Damn you.
Lock her up. Lock her up. Lock all of them up and melt down the keys. I don't understand. How can those mean people do this to us?
Mother, I'm afraid this may be my fault. I made an announcement regarding the funeral on my Facebook page. Someone must have seen it and told the Westboro people about it. I just never thought they would go this far as to bash us like this. You remember when Ted Anderson pulled a stunt like this in our town? This is no different. 911. What is your emergency? We have a large group of protesters that are trespassing on the parking lot of First Unitarian Universalist Church of Dallas. And they include members of the notorious Westboro Baptist cult. We are trying to host a funeral, damn it. Oh, that sort of crazy thing? Don't worry, we will send the Dallas police to deal with those lunatics.
And soon the cops arrive and begin using tear gas, rubber bullets, and clubs to drive the protesters out of the parking lot so the funeral attendees can finally leave. Trigger warning, acts of violence depicted.
So much for freedom of speech and the right of assembly, eh?
At last the protests are ended and everyone moves on.
Are we ever going to have a society in which people can just accept each other's differences and live together in peace?
I don't know, Debbie. But at least our son and Annika have had a taste of what bigotry looks like, so when they are adults, they won't put up with it at all.